So here I am, back for another video on what is V-Day plus 9. And so it's like the way things went for us this weekend. So it's like not only did the Steelers beat up on the Vikings until, of course, the fourth quarter, right? But all three of our division rivals, though two of them I'm going to really be talking about, but all three of our division rivals got their asses beat. And of course, after looking at our schedule and the Ravens' schedule and the Bengals' schedule, it's like, and looking at the standings and all that, the title of this video stands as follows. The Steelers are first in the AFC North for at least the next 2 weeks, right? So, why exactly do I say that? And not just simply for the next week? Because, we have our bye, and even if the Bengals were to win, we would still be half a game ahead of them. And, of course, Baltimore and Cleveland are tied for last place at 1-3. The reason I say that is because, well, the game that we got after our bye week is the Browns in Pittsburgh, which historically is almost always a win for us, as everybody already knows. Right, so in all likelihood, we are going to be 4-1 going into that Thursday night game against the Bengals in Cincinnati. And with the way things are going, right? So, we're 3-1, all likelihood 4-1 in a week and a half from now. But then, of course, the Ravens are depleted with injuries. I don't like the fact that the Ravens have all these injuries, and I don't like the fact that Burrow has that severe turf toe. But with the way things are, like, the Steelers have a golden opportunity to set themselves up to possibly run away with the AFC North title. Possibly. So it's like, so let's pull up our schedule, the Ravens schedule, and the Bengals schedule, to see what the outlook for each of the teams is. So starting with the Ravens, so after they just got not only blown out by Kansas City, right? And as I said, they have a shit ton of injuries on the defense, as well. They even lost that defensive lineman. I forget his name, but they lost him for the season with a neck injury. And I think going into that Kansas City game, they had just 3 sacks, 2 of them by that defensive lineman that is going to be out for the year. And not only that, but they also have Lamar dealing with the hamstring injury. And I know the Texans have been off to a very slow start until they, of course, shut out the Titans 26-0. But like, if the Ravens lose to the Texans, which is very possible, especially if Lamar has to miss that game because of his hamstring, then there's a good chance that the Ravens are looking at 1-4. And even though the Ravens are usually not that kind of team to lose back-to-back home games, it doesn't get any easier that they gotta play the Rams the week after that. So it's like there's a chance that Baltimore could be staring at 1-5 in the bye week. I'm not saying that they will go 1-5 going into their bye week, but I'm not ruling that out either. And even some of the games after their bye week, right? The Bears. Sure, they still got a long way to go, but they are starting to come along a little. At Miami may not even be that easy of a game, even though the Dolphins kind of suck right now. At Minnesota, that's probably going to be a tough game. And of course at Cleveland, right? I mean, even though the Browns suck, I don't know, playing the Browns in Cleveland can be a trap for good teams sometimes, and you know, the Browns have played this division rather tough whenever we, the Ravens or the Bengals, play the Browns in Cleveland over the years. But with that said, you know, there's a very good chance that the Ravens could go into their bye week either 1-5 or 2-4. And now next, let's look at, well, the Bengals schedule. So as we all know, they unfortunately, you know, lost Joe Burrow for the season, for basically the whole season because of that turf toe thing that he had in, I believe, week 2. But now it's like, so Cincinnati, right? So not only have they gotten blown out back-to-back games, now sitting at 2-2, but it's like their next 2 games they have the Lions and Packers. All likelihood, they will be 2-4 going into that Thursday night game against us. And now, of course, right, so now while we have historically owned the Bengals in Cincinnati, we also haven't done very well in road Thursday night football games. So it's like, but now, say if the Bengals lose to us, that pretty much means that they're 2-5. And okay, they should be able to beat the Jets. Bears is a 50-50, and then after that comes their bye week. So it's like, so chances are, so it's like if they lose that game to us in Pittsburgh in November, if they lose to us in Pittsburgh in mid-November, like, I mean, there's a chance that they could be like, there's a very good chance they could be like 3-7 after that. I mean, chances are, I mean, that would pretty much be the nail in the coffin to their season. And now, of course, let's look at our schedule. So, of course, as you can see, I'm still, you know, emotionally reminiscent on the fact that we finally beat the Pew-Steakling the Flatriots in Foxborough for the first time in 17 years. But, you know, with that said, so after winning that game, we, of course, had what was easily our best performance of the season against Minnesota in Ireland. And that was without Jalen Warren, by the way. So we sit at 3-1 going into our bye week. Now, granted, you know, we do have while Cincinnati and Baltimore have been hit hard with key injuries, I mean, we do have some of our own injuries. But, you know, the thing is, you know, good thing the bye week, you know, came for us. Usually early bye weeks suck, but in this case, it came at a very good time for us. But anyways, you know, we're 3-1 going into our bye week. And then we play the Browns in Pittsburgh right after that. So 4-1 pretty much. And then, you know, Thursday night at Cincinnati. Now, as I said earlier, we've historically owned the Bengals in Cincinnati, but we've also done shitty in Thursday night away games. So, like, now look, I wouldn't be too bummed if we're 4-2 after that game, because I could see us losing that game, but if we win that game, which like all likelihood means 5-1, so like if everything that I just brought up falls into place, so if we're 5-1 after that Thursday night game at the Bengals, you know, we got that tough stretch ahead of us, Green Bay, Colts, Chargers, etc. Right? So like if all of that falls into place with us, with the Ravens going either 1-5 or 2-4 into their bye week, and the Bengals being 2-5 after that Thursday night game, right? If all of that falls into place for us, and yet we still manage to fuck it all up and choke the division away like we did last year, not only would it be beyond inexcusable to just sit around and not make any changes, but hell, we do not deserve to win the AFC North ever again. Ever again. For the rest of our existence, for the rest of our duration as a franchise, you name it. Because with us taking yet another quote-unquote all-in or win-now approach in what should be a long-term rebuild approach, right? Along with having Lamar and Burrow in our division, I mean, it's like we're not going to get too many chances like this. Like, we have a golden opportunity to not only, of course, win, but we have a chance to run away with the AFC North title. And if we fuck this up, I am sorry. I am beyond sorry, but there is no reason to not make wholesale change after this. I mean, it should have been happened, but after this, I mean, it's like, God fucking damn. Like, I mean, even with a chance like this, you still can't win the AFC North. No, we gotta take this chance. Since we want to stay in this win now approach year in and year out, rather than face the long-term rebuild, which would be better, in the long run. But that'll do it for this video. V-Day +9. I'm out.